God. Going too fast. I'm taking 3.
I'm going for the St. Louis now.
Oh, no.
Son of a bitch.
You get your 2?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thotgor here, of course, and today we're going to take a look at a replay in the Scharnhorst. Now, I know that I haven't put up a few videos, videos in a few days. I had some computer issues. My, Windows 10 didn't update, and it just screwed over some programs on the computer. I managed to clear it all up, but then I continued to have issues with daemon tools, of all things, and so I had to go back and just reformat the whole thing, and that took, most of Sunday. But anyway, we are back and taking a look at the Scharnhorst, and we are on epicenter. This is a great game mode. I actually really do enjoy epicenter. It really does focus the battle in fairly close, and it kind of negates any sort of reason to be in the background, right? Now, in these opening stages, it is a little different. I mean, obviously, people are going to be getting into position. People are still, closing ranges and whatnot. And especially during the opening salvos and maneuvers and stuff, it would make sense, if you needed to, especially in a battleship, to like leave the first cap zone, I suppose, if you didn't have a good position. And that's, something that I generally do as well, because I don't like to just stop and park myself somewhere. I do enjoy to actually cruise around and, get different shots off on different ships as I can. And the Scharnhorst is really good at that, luckily, because she does play very similar to a cruiser. She is pretty good at going in there and brawling it out with enemies, but it's not something I would generally recommend, that you just sail straight in there and duke it out with the enemies. I would get in close, and you'll see that we definitely do get in close in this video, but I would always caution any sort of early push right into the center. That might go pretty bad for you. But anyway, making our way into the first cap zone, you can see my team is dispersed, right? And this is sort of normal as well. You'll see either your team or the enemy team get some capping done, while the, your side and the enemy side get into position to prevent the cap. Because as long as there is one enemy ship in any one of these 3 cap zones, it's not actually going to cap, right? So you do need to clear all the enemies out of here, and it's not as easy as just trying to force the enemies out and whatnot. You do actually have to focus on killing the enemies, getting the enemies gone so that you don't have to worry about them being in that cap zone. Because the ranges, again, are, they're going to be fairly close. And on this map here, we do have some great island cover to make use of as well. I mean, it's not too heavy, which is what I enjoy as well. You can see basically on the east and west side of the cap circles is where we have our land masses that we can make use of if we needed any sort of cover. And in the north and in the south of the cap zone, there's, it's pretty open, right? So it provides those good points or the good opportunities to get shots across the map at some unsuspecting enemies, much like I'm doing, or attempting to do. With the reformat of the computer, obviously all the settings have changed. Everything is weird again, and I think actually I did make some enhancements here to the videos themselves, so hopefully that'll turn out positively. We won't know until actually you're watching the video, and if you're watching the video, it means it did turn out positively, which is always good. Anyway, we have a Fuso off in the distance, and the Fuso I was pretty concerned about because I'm presenting a broadside to the Fuso, and this Fuso, if the player looked at me and shot full salvo at me of armor piercing, could really do a bunch of damage. So I do need to keep this in mind. We have some Nurembergs in the background as well. Those are very annoying, very pesky, and we will duke it out with a Nuremberg later on in battle. An enemy Congo off in the distance, so we're just going to fire off some shots, and you'll notice, I fire pretty much only high explosive in the Scharnhorst, unless the situation is like, cruisers are really close and presenting broadside, then yeah, I'm going to be getting some armor piercing into them because you will do a lot of damage. But for the most part, high explosive. I have Demolition Expert on the captain, so even though it's German HE, it still has a better chance than normal to set fires, and it's really the fire damage that I'm looking for anyway. As long as, too, if I manage to aim my shots properly, hit the superstructure of the enemy ship, I'm going to do do, you know, some decent damage and have a pretty good chance of setting some fires. Much like I just did to that enemy Scharnhorst over there. You can see I got pretty lucky with that plunging fire right. It did come right down on top of the superstructure, which is what I set on fire and what I damaged. Not the actual, like, any sort of critical, well, I guess not the Citadel, I should say, because, yeah, there might have been some critical components there that got damaged, who knows. Anyway, Fuzo once again. Because again, you know, we're still, basically I've been circling around. You can see I'm actually in the center cap zone. I have been pushing forward. And it is an advantage, I guess, when you spawn on the southern side. The landmass here on the, what is that, the starboard side of the ship. I'm using it as cover, and it is an advantage down here in the south, but the north spawn also does get 2 smaller islands that they can use in a similar fashion. You could argue too that those smaller islands are in different positions, providing different firing opportunities, whereas this island is just one big large island, meaning there's, you know, only the firing opportunities from the one island that it's presenting. But oh well, whatever, I'm going to make use of it as I can. We have this enemy battleship kind of staring us down, pretty much coming straight on us, so we're going to need to do something about him, right? So again, I'm going to be firing at the superstructure of the ship, trying to land my shots into like the Prague data tower, because I believe it's a Congo coming at us. You know, land my shots in there, do the damage, maybe take out secondary batteries, AA guns, set some fires, and get the damage counter going up. That is the plan here anyway. In the meantime, too, you'll notice that I was the only allied ship who was actually in the center of the map there, and yeah, the enemies are now capping it, but it's, you know, don't freak out over that, right? You do want to keep your cool here. Obviously, I'm turning around, I'm going to get back in there, and because I'm firing in on the enemy Congo here, I don't have to worry about, is it an enemy Congo? I don't know, because I'm firing in on this enemy battleship, I don't have to worry about, or sorry, turning in on this enemy battleship, my god, I don't have to worry about not getting back into the cap to start recapping it right. It's just going to happen. So even though, yeah, I'll let the enemy cap it a bit here, whatever, I'll still rack up more experience as well by getting these defense. So, yeah, whatever, working out well. And I'm going to use the island right in front of me as cover, because obviously I have 2 enemy ships, a Furuotaka and another enemy battleship behind me, or behind that island on the other side, that I'm pretty concerned about. We get 1 torpedo hit and some flooding here on the Congo. We know the Congo's on fire and flooding now because, you know, hasn't been able to stop any of that. So we're going to rack up some more damage on this player. I've got the secondary batteries targeted on the Congo as well. And there we go. We managed to finish off the Congo. Fantastic. One of my allies also finished off another enemy battleship, or another enemy ship rather, off in the distance there as well, so that is also great. So we're going to try and do something here against the, is this the guys now? I believe it's the, no, it's not the guys now, or yes it is the guys now. Try and do something against this player here. So we're going to fire in high explosive. We managed to set a fire on the stern, which isn't too bad, but we do need to turn, right? The guys now, I've got one. I enjoy it. I think it's, you know, a pretty decent battleship at tier 7. It's not my favorite battleship at tier 7. My favorite battleship at tier 7 is the Nagato. I think the Nagato is amazing. But the guys now isn't too bad. I enjoy her mostly because she has torpedoes, and she is fast and maneuverable. The guns, meh. They will hit when they feel like hitting, basically. It's how the dispersion works. It's as if, you know, RNGesus just decided to completely disregard the guys now and just let the guys now do what the guys now wants to do, basically. When they do hit, though, it is pretty great. So, not too bad. The guys now is firing in on us. We did manage to avoid torpedoes there from the Scharnhorst, which was great. Don't have to worry about those. Took a bit of damage in the process, but whatever. We're still in a pretty decent position to kind of hold on to what we've got right now. And what we've got going on essentially is blocking the enemy cap, right? And you can see this is how epicenter is essentially supposed to work. You are supposed to fight it out like this, because it's, you know, not intended to be too one-sided unless your team just completely melts. Luckily for me, I do have an allied destroyer here who was kind enough, or maybe it's by coincidence, launch some smoke, and I immediately get myself into that smoke. I'm going to need the smoke to cover myself, because, you know, just break some contact here with some of these enemies, allow me to, you know, repair any damage that I may need to do, and then come out and start engaging the enemies once again. You'll notice the enemies did begin to cap the center of the map, so I'm going to try and get myself into the cap. I was hoping to get some torpedoes off at the enemy guys now there, but Unfortunately for me, torpedoes are still reloading. They should be back shortly enough, so maybe I might be able to get them off, or it might just be best to turn and get the other torpedo launchers off on the other side. Guys now in front of me, we can see the guys now did just take some torpedoes there from my Allied destroyer. The Allied destroyer once again coming in to save the day. Torpedoes reload just in time, so we'll launch those off. We'll target the guys now with our secondary batteries, and we'll just pump some high explosive into the player, hoping again to do more damage. And again, we are targeting the superstructure, secondary batteries, those sorts of things. I'm not trying to get the shells into the hull of the ship. They will bounce off or do very little damage. Get the torpedo hit and the kill on the guys now, so that's not too bad at all. We still have this enemy Fuso. I was very concerned again about the enemy Fuso, because you can see I'm presenting quite a nice broadside here. So I do really need to get out of this situation. Plus, we still do have quite a few enemy ships to deal with over here on the other side of the island, right? We can see one of the enemy ships there now. We just saw the second one go out of sight, so we know there's at least two over there that we do potentially have to deal with. And it's getting pretty close. I mean, my team has lost a few players here. Enemy Bliss pops up, so we do need to take this Bliss down. This Bliss is so dangerous. By the way, I love my Bliss. It is amazing. Thank you again, Bad Panda. It's very, very good ship. Anyway, need to get the Bliss down. The Bliss can just start, rapid firing high explosive shells into me and get me on fire. The fact that the Bliss hasn't been doing that right off the bat tells me that torpedoes are in the water, so I do need to be careful for this. We're going to launch, whatever guns I have off the Bliss immediately. I was really glad that, for the most part, we were able to keep the Bliss spotted. Again, lucky that I have this Allied destroyer next to me. Really is paying off by working in conjunction with this player. Again, it's all silent stuff. We're not coordinating whatsoever. I don't know who the player is or anything like that. But it's just recognize the situation, right? The match is pretty close. We don't want to screw things up. Every ship at this point counts. So if you can find a little buddy and stick with that buddy, things will probably work out pretty good. Hopefully is the key thing there too. So we know that the Bliss is still in the smoke. We can see that my Allied destroyer has launched torpedoes into the smoke. And if my Allied destroyer can get the kill, oh, there it is. Fantastic. Bliss is down, don't need to worry about it. And again, the Allied destroyer comes in and saves the day. Fantastic. So we are going to have to do something about this enemy New Mexico, right? Enemy New Mexico is on full health, so I'm going to go bow in and try and time my turn in between the New Mexico shots. Do a bit of damage there with the first rounds, but I'm really trying to set the fire, because the New Mexico probably has repair, so I want to get the one fire going so that the New Mexico can repair it and then set the subsequent fires. I really don't have a whole lot of hit points, right, as we can see. You can see the enemy New Mexico is timing his shots, which is pretty good, because obviously I'm trying to time the shots, time my turn in between the shots, and the New Mexico is firing one shot off at a time, taking the most advantageous shots off that the player has on me. Which is a pretty decent, pretty good idea there. It's probably just RNG that isn't working out for the player at this point in time anyway. So we're just going to keep up the fire. We managed to set that fire there, and we're doing some pretty decent damage as well. The fires aren't sticking, so we know that the player has used the repair, and just a few more, maybe one or two more salvos into the player, we should be able to set multiple fires, and then that way we can just sort of sail away from this New Mexico, because I really can't brawl it out right now. You can see the New Mexico basically is almost killed me, and I'm lucky that my repair was able to go. I do have to turn one salvo into the New Mexico, didn't set him on fire, so that kind of sucks. Now this is obviously the weakness of the Scharnhorst and the guys now, and really any ship that has a single turret on its rear, is when the ship is sailing away from the target. You're only able to get 1/3, 33%, 33.3 repeating percent of your guns on the target, right? So it's not so great, but to the same token, I'm able to use the speed of the Scharnhorst to quickly open up the distance between these players. I mean, I am getting incredibly lucky here with the incoming fire. I've got the Fuso and the enemy New Mexico firing at me here, and I really don't need any other ships to fire at me. I'm just trying to get myself out of this situation and survive. I've done about 119,000 damage at this point, and I really don't want to die. I have very little hit points left, but you can see I have been managing to cap some zones, right? We just capped a second one, so this is fantastic. My team actually has all 3 zones now. So even though the enemies were leading us for a while in ships and it looked pretty dire, we were able to stay alive and cap the points. You can see as well what I mean, you know, what I said about the beginning of the battle, or it said at the beginning of the battle about you really do want to focus on the cap zones and being in the center of the map. It really does make you play close in and you know, make staying in the back pointless, and we can see this. The enemy New Mexico is all the way in the back, not capping. The enemy Fuso is right on the cusp of capping and may turn in and cap. But we do also have a third enemy ship, an enemy cruiser, I believe, over there, completely out of the cap zone. I mean, in reality, the only ship that should probably be outside of the cap zone is probably the aircraft carrier. Everyone else should probably be in the cap zone. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't really make sense to be this far off the map, and especially this late in the game where there's only, I mean, the enemies have 4 ships, we have 5. It is, I mean, it would be pretty dangerous for those battleships to come in, considering we have destroyers remaining, right? And I can understand their hesitation, but at the end of the day, you want to try and do something in order to attempt the victory, I suppose. But whatever. I managed to basically save myself by getting, just, you know, using the speed of the Scharnhorst to sail away, getting the island between myself and the enemy New Mexico. So the New Mexico can't fire in at me. I put some shots into the Fuso. Miss, obviously, once again. What else is new? But whatever. I'm going to continue to use the cover to my advantage as best as I can, but I'm not going to just sail away. Sail away, run away, right? I know I don't have very many hit points, but it would be so hypocritical of me to just sail away, right? So no, I'm going to get back in here. I'm going to try and at least defend this first outer zone, right? Because like we said, the Fuso is still out there, and the Fuso is right on the cusp of being able to actually come into the zone and start contesting it. So at the very least, I'll stay where I am. Hopefully be able to do something against the Fuso and block the capture of this zone. I mean, that's really what I'm hoping for here. Enemy New Mexico. Yes, we're not done with the enemy New Mexico as of yet. You can see the enemy New Mexico is engaging one of my allied battleships here, so this gives me the perfect opportunity to get some shots off and potentially get the New Mexico on fire once again. Maybe even get the kill, you never know, but still, get more damage racked up here anyway. So there we go. There's the first fire, so that's fantastic. And again, the high explosives go in and do decent damage, right? Not too shabby at all. We can see there's actually 2 fires burning on the enemy New Mexico right now. So that second fire would have been, you know, set by one of my allies. So 2 fires going. New Mexico is obviously going to be going down pretty quickly. We can see an enemy ship on the port side of the ship, right? And I am pretty concerned about that player. We can see the New Mexico is pretty much going to go down, so that shouldn't be too bad. Enemy Fuso is the big concern, right? I think it's a Nuremberg there off in the distance, and yes, it's that time where the Nuremberg becomes really, really annoying. But still, we do have the enemy Nuremberg, so I need to keep both those ships in mind. I really don't want to lose sight of those ships. With this number of hit points, you know, I'm going to get screwed over and die really quick if I'm not paying attention. So we're going to turn our ship. We're going to try and make the best use of the cover that we have coming up in the stern here. We're looking at the island, right? I'm not going to try not to go beyond this island. I'm going to try and turn, get some shots over the island, and then sneak back into cover. That is the plan here. Fuso, fortunately, is turning away and wasn't going to try and press around the little headland there and try and come at me, so that is good. Keeps me alive for a few more minutes. I might even be able to stay alive to the end of the battle here. That would be amazing. Enemy Fuso, enemy Nuremberg remaining, I believe. So we do still need to play this very cautiously. So the Nuremberg is dangerous because the Nuremberg can fire high explosive at me, and with the number of hit points that I have, only a few shots from that high explosive, I'm gonna die. Doesn't matter that it's German high explosive, doesn't matter if it doesn't set a fire, it will do some damage, and that will be enough to take me down. So we can see the Nuremberg is bearing down on me now, so I'm gonna fire off my bow guns here, maybe hit the Nuremberg, do a bit of damage, hopefully. I do still need to keep in mind the enemy Fuso here, so we're still using the island. It's now on our starboard side as cover here. I'm not going to push beyond the island. What I'm going to do is maybe get some shots off on the Fuso and then try and turn back in to get the island on the port side of the ship. That would be the plan. It doesn't look like I'm actually going to do it, though. It looks like I'm going to take the chance here, which is surprising. I really didn't expect myself to do that. Oh well, whatever. It's worked out. So we do, go beyond the island, take the chance, get some shots off in the Fuso. We can see that it was completely the wrong move to make, right? Not only was it risky, I didn't even hit the goddamn Fuso. Futo has shots coming in on me, and I'm pretty freaked out at this point in time. It was, when I'm saying to myself, Thotgor, you idiot, what did you do? You had it, and you just wasted it. But, yeah, we might still stay alive, because, again, I've got the speed of the Scharnhorst here, and at least the Nuremberg is, pretty far out. The Fuso is going to be able to fire at me no matter what. The only thing I can hope on the Fuso is that one of my allies distracts him. We can see shots coming in from the Nuremberg, and I think I'm just over 200 hit points now at this time, and I am freaking out, biting my nails. We have more shots coming in. You can see all of them are just falling short. If it wasn't for the speed of the Scharnhorst, I would be dead. It would be over, but we would still win. I mean, we're still gonna win, but it just wouldn't turn out too well. We'll get very lucky there on that last shot from the Fuso. Bounce those shots. Battle is over. Victory is ours. Yes, fantastic. I didn't think we were going to take this one. It was touch and go there for a little while. Pretty even, actually, I should say. Well, no, it felt as though we were disadvantaged basically the entire time until the end. We managed to rack up a few kills pretty quickly. So 132,000 damage dealt, which isn't too bad. A bunch of credits. I finished second overall. You can see my destroyer friend there finished first overall, so kudos to that player. Well deserved, actually, as well. We can see some of the damage breakdown here, right? We did do a whole bunch of damage to that enemy Congo there. Basically all fire damage as well. And then in terms of credits and experience, you can see because this might have been the first game I played after the format, so you can see I gotta get all these down here so we can see all the breaks down. But still, when all is said and done, I do still end up walking away with quite a bit of credits, commander experience, which is great, I suppose, and more free experience as well, which is always nice. Anyway. That is today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to leave any comments you have for me in the video comment section below. I love reading those and responding back to them. Hit the old like button if you did like today's video. Hit subscribe if you are not a subscriber. And as always, I do hope you enjoy the rest of your day.